My parents used to call me the backup twin. They openly said, "Your sister is the special one." Years later, she came crawling, asking for my inheritance, and I had all the evidence needed to ruin her reputation. I'm Ethan, a 23-year-old guy who was always treated like the unnecessary extra in the family until they finally shipped me off somewhere else. My twin sister was the prized child, while I was basically the household's disposable option. Years down the line, she reaches out with a ridiculous demand. My parents pile on, and everything takes a highly satisfying twist. Let's just say I ended up with the ultimate satisfaction. It might or might not have involved a mop bucket, a blue uniform, and me struggling not to collapse from uncontrollable laughter. From the very beginning, it was obvious who the family favorite was. My twin sister, Chloe, also 23, is a girl with blonde hair, green eyes, deep dimples, and every trait that makes people instantly adore a child. Whenever anyone saw us together, they'd gush, "Oh, she's absolutely stunning." And then, almost as an afterthought, "And that's her brother." Like I was just her personal assistant or chauffeur. My parents, John and Rebecca, lapped it all up. If Chloe let out the tiniest ladylike burp, it was seen as refined. If I did literally anything, it was labeled lazy, dull, and troublesome. And I'm not overstating it. One Christmas, she got a brand new iPad while I got socks. Not even decent socks, discount bin socks, 2 sizes too small. They loved pointing out that I had a darker skin tone than Chloe. She took after Mom's pale complexion and Dad's light eyes. I just looked like me. Guess whose appearance fit their perfect family portrait aesthetic? Spoiler, not the kid they told to stand at the back so the lighting wouldn't overpower his sister's glow. While growing up, I was the official gopher. If something needed cleaning in the garage, it was my job. Chloe's turn to wash dishes. No, she had studying to do, so I did them instead. Family trips. Sure, I was invited, but only to haul the luggage and take pictures of everyone else enjoying themselves. What still makes me grit my teeth is that I wasn't allowed in certain family photos. They'd take 2 sets, one with Chloe perfectly centered and another with just her alone. There was never a version that featured me. The day they finally decided they'd had enough of me was almost comical in its cruelty. I was 14. Chloe was 14. We both had a school concert coming up. I didn't want to wear the scratchy, overly tight outfit Mom had picked for me. I mentioned it bothered me and asked if I could wear something more comfortable. That was the entire offense. I didn't want to look like I was attending my own arraignment. Mom completely lost it. Dad supported her, calling me ungrateful and an embarrassment to the family. Next thing I knew, they were saying, "You know what? It might be better if you go stay with Uncle James and Aunt Laura for a while." That while became permanent. Here's the part that makes it even worse. They didn't even try to hide the reason. A week later, I overheard Mom on the phone saying, "We decided to keep the better child." Meaning me, or rather, not me. Uncle James and Aunt Laura, Dad's brother and his wife, were stunned. They weren't rich, but they were genuinely kind. When they came to get me, they promised I'd have my own room and feel at home, not like some unwanted package. My parents barely acknowledged my departure. Chloe waved from the porch like I was heading off to summer camp. Mom's parting words were, "Try not to cause them as much trouble as you caused us. No hugs, no, we'll miss you." Just one last dig to carry with me. That first night with James and Laura showed me how different life could feel. They asked if I wanted something to eat. They never once compared me to Chloe. They didn't care what I wore as long as it was clean. They treated me like a real family member, which felt foreign at first because I wasn't used to it. The issue was that even after I moved out, my parents found ways to remind me I was the discard. They'd send birthday cards addressed to Chloe with updated photos of her, but never mentioned me. My all-time favorite was when they mailed a family portrait with me physically cropped out. You could still see my arm draped over Chloe's shoulder. Real elegant. I used to wonder if maybe I really was the difficult kid, but living with James and Laura proved I wasn't. Turns out when you treat a child like they matter, they act like they do. So that's how I became the backup twin. No dramatic court battles or tragic events, just 2 parents who decided which kid looked better on their holiday cards. And honestly, that choice was the greatest gift they ever gave me. Because while Chloe was being raised as the princess, I escaped. I got to live with people who didn't care how I showed up in pictures. And someday, I figured their decision to throw me away would come back to bite them hardest. I thought moving in with Uncle James and Aunt Laura would be the end of contact. They'd tossed me aside, so why would they keep tabs? Turns out my parents weren't the type to let go. They were the type to throw something in the trash and then get mad when the trash didn't send thank you notes. It started that first Christmas after I left. James brings in the mail and hands me an envelope with my name on it. I open it to find a glossy photo of my parents and Chloe in coordinated sweaters, cuddling a golden retriever I'd never met. Bold text on the front. Merry Christmas from our perfect family. My name wasn't even printed inside, just scrawled in Sharpie. You'd fit better in this picture if you tried harder. Merry Christmas indeed. Then they got creative. On my 16th birthday, a package arrives containing a single plain cupcake. No frosting, no note, just a candle jammed in the top. I instantly knew they hadn't actually remembered my birthday. It was their way of saying I wasn't worth a real cake. Another time, a padded envelope shows up with a gift. My old third-grade participation ribbon, edges singed like it had been burned. I figured it wasn't meant to hurt me. It was for their own satisfaction. They weren't trying to reconnect or even inflict logical pain. They just needed to make sure I never forgot I was the cast-off. The strangest part was how coordinated the cruelty felt. I'd get something from Chloe, then Mom a week later, then Dad. Like they had a harassment calendar on the fridge. Someone once mailed me a USB drive. I plugged it in, big mistake, and it launched a slideshow of Chloe's highlights. Academic awards, vacation photos, her holding trophies, all set to cheesy motivational music. I couldn't watch it without cracking up. By 17, it turned physical. They showed up twice. First time I come home from school to find James on the porch holding a huge framed photo. My parents had dropped it off and left. It was their latest family portrait, just the three of them plus the dog. Taped in the corner behind the glass was a tiny baby picture of me with a big red X over my face. Second time, I'm walking home and spot a car parked nearby. Chloe's hanging out the window holding a giant sign, "Need cash. Ask your real family." A few classmates were walking behind me. They saw the whole thing. Chloe waved like she was in a parade. I didn't react, just kept walking. I think my indifference bothered her more than any outburst would have. The breaking point came a few months later. A large, heavy package arrives. I open it to find a shoebox filled with dirt and trash. On top was a note, "This is all you'll ever amount to for us." James nearly called the police. I told him not to waste the effort. I didn't want them thinking they'd gotten a reaction. But inside, I made a key decision. I wasn't just going to block them. I was going to keep records. Every petty insult, every childish stunt, I saved it all for the day I could use it. By then, James and Laura were saying they wouldn't stop unless I severed every tie. So I did. New phone number, privacy locks on school records, mail forwarded to a P.O. box. For over a year, peace. No cards, no packages, no drive-by signs. I almost believed they'd moved on. But here's what I've learned about people like my parents and Chloe. They don't reach out because they miss you. They reach out because they need something. And when that something surfaced years later, it came in the form of a call from Chloe, acting like we were long-lost best friends. I knew it was bad news the second I saw her name. I'd changed my number years ago after the dirt box incident. So she'd either charmed or guilted a relative into handing it over. First, seeing her name pop up felt like spotting a collections agency on caller ID. You're not getting good news. Second, I hadn't heard from her since she waved that "Ask your real family" sign out a car window, so I wasn't expecting a heartfelt chat, but curiosity one. I wanted to hear her pitch. I answered. Her voice was syrupy, overly cheerful, fake happy, the classic influencer tone. "Hey, it's been ages. How have you been? I played along. Let me guess, this call ends with you asking for money." She laughed like it was a joke. "Oh, come on. Seriously, I've been missing you. We should catch up." Translation, I need something. I just didn't know what yet. We did the awkward small talk for a couple minutes, her bragging about her fabulous life, me giving short answers. Then she went for it. So I heard Uncle James got some money from Grandma and Grandpa. Bingo, I kept my voice neutral. Yeah, they set up a trust in my name that James managed. He transferred it to me a few months ago, so it's mine now. Well, I just thought, since we're twins, it'd be fair to split it. I actually laughed out loud. Split my inheritance? That's cute. She didn't laugh back. I'm serious, Ethan. We're family. Family shares. My jaw tightened. Funny, you didn't share when I ate alone in the kitchen while you sat at the fancy dining table. God, you're so dramatic, she snapped, flipping to that childhood tone that made everything I said sound unhinged. It's about doing what's right. I need the money for college. Oh, I said. You mean the college you could have paid for with the fund your parents set up? The one Mom bragged to James about before I heard from a cousin that you blew it on designer bags and a trip to Italy. Silence. That landed. Then she recovered. That was different. I was living my best life. You've had it easy with James and Laura. You don't need all that money. The entitlement made me chuckle again. So let me get this straight. You wasted your own college savings, and now you think you deserve half of mine. Because I had a good life with people who actually wanted me around. You're being selfish, she said. If the roles were reversed, I'd help you. Really, I replied. That's odd, because when I asked to borrow your graphing calculator in high school, you told me to buy my own, but now I'm supposed to fund your entire future. Her tone shifted from sweet to sharp. If you won't do the right thing, maybe Mom and Dad should talk to you. I smirked. Go ahead, haven't spoken to them in years. Should be entertaining. Click, she hung up. 45 minutes later, my phone exploded. First Mom, then Dad, then an aunt I barely remember, all reading from the same playbook. It's your duty to help your sister. You wouldn't have the life you have without us. Without them. The same people who dumped me on their brother's doorstep like a faulty appliance. One voicemail from Dad said, "You're still my son, so I have the right to ask this of you." Which was rich, because the only time he ever claimed me was to manipulate me. One even sent a link to Chloe's GoFundMe titled, "Help me get to college. My brother won't." The description was pure comedy. My twin brother received a large sum but refuses to share with me, even though he knows how important my education is. He's had an easy life while I've struggled. Struggle apparently including an all-inclusive Maldives resort last summer. The best part? The campaign photo showed her posing beside a BMW. I wasn't even mad about the BMW. I was impressed. Chloe's entitlement wasn't ordinary golden child energy. It was world-class. It takes guts to blow your own savings, beg for someone else's, and still play the victim. James and Laura wanted to report her and get it taken down, but I asked them to wait. Something shifted in me during that call. I'd spent years blocking their chaos. Now I wanted to engage, not because I'd give them a dime, but because Chloe had handed me the perfect setup. She was openly lying about why she needed funds. My parents were enabling her as always, and I had years of receipts proving she was full of it. Instead of ignoring calls, I started answering, letting them vent while acting like I was considering it. I recorded everything. Screenshots, voicemails, the GoFundMe link. I even had a mutual friend forward me pics of her bragging in a private group, chat about her Italy shopping spree and Maldives getaway. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about making sure everyone saw exactly who they were. That night, Chloe texted one last time before going quiet. "In a way, I'm getting what I deserve." I smiled at the screen. "Yeah, I thought you would, just not how you imagined." See, people like Chloe and my parents don't know when to quit. If you let them think they're wearing you down, they'll keep going. And the longer they go, the more material they give you. So I stopped blocking. I let the storm in just long enough to collect what I needed. Next morning, Chloe called again. I could tell she'd rehearsed her reasonable voice. "Ethan, I just want to sort this out. I'm not asking for everything, just enough for tuition. How much is enough?" I asked, knowing the number would be insane. She didn't disappoint. 45,000. But that's just the start. There's books, housing, self-care too. I stayed quiet, then said, "How do you figure that?" "I'm guessing." She huffed and moved on, but I heard the nervousness. She knew she'd bragged about that number somewhere and wondered how I knew. Meanwhile, my parents launched their own offensive. Mom tried the concerned mom act. "Chloe's so stressed." "Ethan, you've always been the resilient one. You can manage without that money, but she can't. Be the bigger person." Translation: you're not the favorite, so your life is supposed to be harder. I knew I needed them to keep talking, so I started asking questions. So if I helped, exactly what would the money go toward? I'd act interested, then let them dig deeper. They sent actual spreadsheets. Chloe had made a color-coded college budget file. Tuition and books were roughly 20%. The rest included $6,500 for wardrobe refresh, $3,500 for networking events and book clubs, and $10,200 for transportation upgrade. Code for new car. I forwarded everything to myself from 3 different emails. No way I was losing that gem. About a week in, a neutral mutual friend texted me screenshots from Chloe's private Instagram, posts of her in luxury stores, selfies captioned, "Manifesting my dream car." No one can stop me from the life I deserve. Pure gold. I started seeing the full picture. Chloe thought this would be a quick guilt trip and payout. My parents assumed they could pressure me like old times. None realized they were handing me enough proof to torch their image in one go. But timing mattered. You don't unload everything at once. You wait until they've gone far enough that exposing it is irreversible, so I kept dangling just enough hope to keep them talking. Maybe I could cover part of it. I'll think it over. Let me see what's left after my own expenses. Every time I said something like that, Chloe's texts got sweeter. Mom started sending, "I've been thinking of you" messages. Dad even asked about my job like he cared. It was all fake. Everything was perfect. Then Chloe made her first big mistake. She sent me a photo of a luxury handbag she just bought, claiming it was an investment piece for interviews. The $1,500 price tag was still attached. The kicker, she sent it while begging about being too broke for textbooks. I didn't reply, just saved it. 2 days later, another blunder. She posted on Instagram about a weekend getaway with friends to de-stress before the semester. Location: 5-star resort. Caption: self-care is key to success. I didn't respond, saved. By now I had screenshots of shopping sprees, proof she'd blown her original college fund, the absurd budget spreadsheet, and my parents openly backing her nonsense in messages and voicemails. All I needed was one final piece. Clear proof they wouldn't stop unless publicly humiliated. It came as a group text. Chloe added me, my parents, and about 6 other relatives to a chat titled Family Support. She started, "I'm reaching out so everyone knows how Ethan is refusing to help his twin sister build her future, even though he has plenty to spare." Mom chimed in, "We're just asking for fairness. He's been fortunate and should share." That was it. The perfect stage. They'd gone public with family. They'd drawn their line, unaware I was on the other side holding a lit match and gasoline. When I set it off, I decided I wouldn't let them spin it later. No ambiguity. No, that's not what we meant. Just their own words and actions on full display. Once it was out, no taking it back. They wanted public. Fine. I'd make it permanent. I took a deep breath, opened the family support chat, and started typing like I was submitting a final project I knew would get an A first message. Okay, since we're all talking openly here, let's make sure everyone has the full picture. Here's Chloe's detailed college budget plan. I attached the spreadsheet she'd sent me. You could almost feel the group go silent for a collective gasp. Next message. You'll see only about 20% is actual school costs. The rest covers $6,500 wardrobe refresh, $10,200 transportation upgrade, and $5,000 personal wellness, which from her receipts seems to mean facials, yoga retreats, and an influencer lifestyle course. Then I dropped the handbag photo with the $1,500 tag. Purchased yesterday. Not sure how this fits the struggling student narrative, but maybe it doubles as a textbook carrier. Brief silence in the chat. Then, "Mom, that's not the point, Ethan. The point is you've been blessed." I cut in with the resort screenshot. "And here's last weekend's quick self-care trip. Must be exhausting managing college apps with poolside cocktails. My bad, not supposed to mention the drinks." The chat started unraveling. A few cousins quietly left. One aunt sent a side-eye emoji. Dad tried damage control. "Ethan, this is private. We're family." So I went for the kill. I posted proof from the mutual friend showing Chloe bragging in a private group about blowing her original fund on Italy and the Maldives, plus her exact words. "It's fine, I'll just get Ethan to cover the rest. He owes me anyway." Captioned, "Just to clarify, I owe you because at 14 our parents shipped me off to James and Laura so they could keep the prettier child. Wanted to make sure I understood the logic." At that point, the group chat wasn't just awkward, it was radioactive. My phone buzzed like it was trying to escape. Relatives started DMing me privately saying they had no idea or always suspected something off about Chloe's stories. Chloe finally replied in the group, "You're twisting everything." That's not what I meant. I laughed reading it. Twisting? She'd said it in perfect context. So I delivered the final blow. Here's the full context. "Chloe, you're not getting a cent. Mom and Dad, you raised her to think she deserves whatever she wants, and now you're shocked it's blowing up in your faces. You could have left me alone, but you came after what's mine, and now the whole family sees it. This is the last time I respond to any of you. Goodbye." Then I left the chat. It felt incredible, like walking away from a dumpster fire you didn't ignite but happily fanned. But I wasn't done. I forwarded the exact same evidence, every screenshot, file, photo, to the other side of the family not in the chat. I didn't want Chloe or my parents claiming I was being vicious or fabricating things. Nope, the proof was airtight. Within 24 hours, Chloe's GoFundMe vanished. Not because she hit the goal, but because comments turned brutal. One cousin even posted the full screenshot album in the comments section. Anyone who clicked the link saw the entire saga before reading her plea. People started sharing the screenshots, calling her a scammer. Someone joked it was a college fund that looked more like a vacation fund. James and Laura couldn't stop grinning for a week. James even made popcorn one night and said, "This beats any streaming show." The best part is Chloe can't stand public humiliation. She could have taken the loss and moved on. Instead, she doubled down, trying to convince relatives the photos were old or edited. But timestamps and metadata shut that down fast. Every time she spun a new excuse, someone forwarded it to me, and I shared the contradicting proof. Her family reputation crashed faster than a meme stock. Party invites dried up. Mom's proud parent posts about her disappeared. Even her friends started unfollowing online. And I didn't lift a finger after the initial drop. The fallout just kept growing on its own. It stopped being about money. It became about control. For the first time, they had zero leverage over me. They couldn't blame me, rewrite history, or hide what they'd done for years. I turned their little public pressure campaign into a reputation-ending disaster, all by reflecting their own words back at them. I thought that was the end. But I underestimated how far entitled people will go when the safety net disappears. Because a few months later, when their money troubles became obvious, my parents showed up at my apartment. Not to yell, guilt, or beg, at least not at first. And that was the sweetest moment of all. Picture this. Saturday afternoon, I'm in comfy clothes, halfway through leftover lasagna, watching a TikTok about turning a tiny room into a palace with basic materials. Life is peaceful. Then knock knock. Not a friendly tap. Not a neighbor borrowing an egg. This was urgent, rapid, desperate. I peek out the window and nearly choke on my food. Mom and Dad on my doorstep. For a second, I thought maybe they brought an apology gift basket. You know, fancy cheeses and a note saying sorry for being awful parents. Nope. They looked disheveled, clothes wrinkled, faces like they'd seen a ghost. I opened the door a crack because I'm not stupid. Wow, the golden child must be busy, so you're slumming it with me? Dad forces a chuckle. Ethan, come on. That's not necessary. Oh, it absolutely is. So what's the visit about? Forget my birthday again and want to catch up on 2 decades of neglect. Mom jumps in, hands clasped like she's praying. We've made mistakes. We know that, but we're still family and family forgives. I cut her off because the last time I heard family from her, it came with a cash request. And judging by your faces, this isn't a wellness check. They exchange a look like they'd planned to soften me up first. Finally, Dad speaks. We're in a tough spot. I lean on the doorframe. Tough spot. Did Chloe overspend on self-care packages? Mom sighs like she's the victim. The house is facing foreclosure. Bills piled up and your sister is struggling. Chloe appears from the driveway, designer sunglasses on, holding a giant coffee like it's a trophy. Hey, Ethan, she says casually, like she's greeting a barista she's about to undertip. I smile. Well, if it isn't the star of the GoFundMe scam documentary. What's up, sis? She ignores the jab. We're just here to talk. Things have been hard and you have the means to help. There it is. No pretense this time, straight to the ask. I tilt my head. You're right, Chloe, I do have the means and I'm using them for myself. Crazy concept, I know. Dad steps closer, trying to summon long-lost parental authority. We're asking for an interest-free loan to get back on our feet. I laugh. You've been on your feet for years, just stepping on everyone else's. Now that you've stumbled, you want me as your crutch. Mom tries the guilt route next. We raised you from a baby, sorry, I interrupt. You gave me away to James and Laura because I didn't match the holiday card vibe. Let's not rewrite history. Chloe scoffs. God, you're so dramatic, it's just money. You're acting like we want your kidney. Exactly, I say. But notice, if you took my kidney, you'd probably sell it and come back asking for the other one. Dad's face reddens. We're giving you a chance to be the better person. I smirk. I've been the better person since I was 14. You were too busy shining Chloe's crown to notice. They're all shifting uncomfortably now, realizing the old tactics aren't landing. So Mom drops the humble act and goes full desperation. If we lose the house, we'll have nowhere to go. Tough break, I say. On the bright side, empty rooms make family photos way easier. No furniture to arrange. Chloe tries once more. Please, Ethan, just enough to get us stable. I promise I'll pay you back. I meet her eyes. Oh, like you were going to replenish your original college fund or fund your own trips instead of crowdfunding family. Sorry if your history doesn't inspire trust. Long silence. No one's smiling. Chloe looks ready to explode. Dad's flushed. Mom's eyes are wet, but from fury, not remorse, because I'm not caving, so I wrap it up. Calm, firm, no shouting. You all made your choice years ago. You picked your favorite. You backed her even when she was wrong. And you decided I was disposable. Now you're here because you need something from the disposable one. So here's my answer. The same one you've given me my whole life. No. And I shut the door. I stood there a moment. Listening, nothing, no pounding, no shouting, just footsteps retreating, car doors, engine starting. I went back to my lasagna, and let me tell you, it tasted incredible. Life after slamming that door was serene. Beautifully quiet. No surprise visits. No manipulative voicemails. No intervention-style family group chats trying to fix my conscience. Just me, James, Laura, my plans, and the inheritance safely in my name. I didn't brag about it, not because I'm noble, but because the satisfaction didn't need an audience. I knew it was enough. But the universe decided to grant an encore. It was a Friday night. I was out with 2 friends at a decent restaurant. No cartoon menus, servers who describe specials like they invented them. We just finished appetizers. I got up to hit the restroom, walking past the kitchen entrance, and spotted a mop sticking out of a yellow bucket. Then I saw her. Chloe, hair tied back in a messy bun, looking defeated. Blue cleaning uniform, rubber gloves, pushing a mop across the floor with the enthusiasm of someone scrubbing prison walls. I stopped dead. Then uncontrollably, I started laughing. The kind you can't fake, pure shock and joy colliding in your chest. She looked up and went ghost white. "Oh my God," she muttered, trying to turn away. "No, don't hide," I said, pulling out my phone. "Blue really brings out your eyes. Honestly, better than the Maldives swimsuit pics." "Delete that," she hissed, jabbing a finger at my phone as I snapped the first shot. Click. She tried ducking behind the bucket, but I stepped closer. "Come on, sis. Just one for the family album. We can put it beside the one where you held the Ask Your Real Family sign." Click, click, her face hardened. "Ethan, I swear to God, you swear a lot," I cut in. "Like you were going to repay your college fund. Like you wouldn't waste money. Like you'd escape consequences. Looks like you didn't." A few customers heading to the restroom slowed, glancing at her, then me. I shrugged and stage whispered, "Family reunion." "She's in uniform." Chloe flushed crimson. She muttered something incoherent and bolted through the kitchen doors, abandoning the mop in the hallway. I stood there grinning a second longer, then snapped one final photo of the lonely bucket and went back to my table like nothing happened. Of course, I didn't keep those photos private. I sent them to my 2 closest cousins, the same ones in the original family support chat when I unleashed the receipts. By the time I got home, one had made a side-by-side meme. Left side Chloe in Italy with shopping bags, right side Chloe in blue uniform, captioned, "Living the life she deserves." Next morning, I woke to a flood of texts from her. "Delete those pictures now. You're obsessed with ruining me. I'll sue you." I replied with a single thumbs-up emoji. That was it. A few hours later, Mom called. I let it ring. Then Dad, same. Then a blocked number, straight to voicemail. I saved it without listening. Didn't need to hear the script. I knew it was some mix of "you've gone too far" and "we're still family." They didn't get that this wasn't too far. This was exactly as far as I wanted. This wasn't revenge for everything they did. It was letting them live in the world they built while occasionally stopping by to enjoy the view. Chloe had spent her life believing someone would always bail her out. Me, parents, family, strangers. No matter how badly she messed up. Seeing her in that uniform, mopping floors, knowing no cavalry was coming, that was sweeter than any forced apology. As I left the restaurant that night, I passed the kitchen doors again. Chloe was back at her station, head down, avoiding eye contact. I didn't stop, didn't speak, just let my quiet laughter linger behind me like a signature scent. Because blue really does suit her.